Right here on Davos, Director Niti now, Shashank Singh of Apax joins us to talk about the landscape, the deals that are happening or not happening, and a lot more. Thanks very, very much for being with us. A very cold Davos, but how exactly is Apax, and particularly you, mapping the world that we live in? Interesting times indeed, but what does this really mean for investments per se? I'm not specifically talking about India just yet. I'll come to that in a bit.
Quite interesting times, Supriya, as you say. Very uncertain, a lot of volatility. We heard a speech by President Xi Jinping, sort of taking leadership around globalization. We heard Joe Biden indicating what perhaps the next U.S. administration could be doing. And it produces uncertainty when it comes to the world of investments. Obviously, capital is plentiful. But the key for us and for all investors is to understand where returns will come from.
So where returns will come from? Let's just first begin with Apax. You're a UK-based fund. You have a lot of exposure there. What has a Brexit meant for you?
Actually, we don't have much exposure in the UK. We're a global fund. We happen to be from heritage based in the UK. And the actual proportion of our capital that's in the UK is very, very small. We pursue the best opportunities we can find in our sectors globally. So in fact, our split of investments is roughly 40% in the US, 40% in Europe, and 20% in emerging markets.
So talking about emerging markets, why is it that in 2016 the deal pipeline kind of did shrink and did fall? What was the reason for investments to fall, at least in the private equity space?
So I think the first half of 2016, the public markets were on fire. Valuations were very, very high. And that made deal doing tough because it's hard to justify returns, back to the question we talked about a minute ago. And then in the second half, we had demonetization. And that produced a lot of uncertainty. And uncertainty can lead to interesting points of value, but can also lead to just deal making freezing up, a little bit like the climate here.
Yes, yes. Is 2017 going to be different? And if yes, what is going to cause the difference?
A bit early to tell. It'll depend on the growth prospects of the economy and valuations. Our own house belief is, yes, it will be different. That hopefully, as the economy recovers, there should be renewed momentum in deal making, but we'll see. Time will tell.
You know, one is curious to know the kind of investments that you've made and the kinds you've exited. Very little gets written and said about Apax because you guys don't talk so much to media, but one is interested to know, just to map the landscape really.
So Supriya, we've been in India 10 years now.
That's right.
And invested about $1.5 billion across 6 deals. So our deals tend to be quite concentrated and large in size, on average $250 million equity per deal. This has been in a mix of sectors across the 4 key sectors, 3 out of the 4 key sectors that Apax invests in. A number of deals in the technology services space, which have on the whole done reasonably well for us. iGate we exited a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago. Global Logic was another company where we had a part exit, in fact, just last week. Couple of deals in financial services. Again, we've had a part exit on one of them. And healthcare, which was Apollo Hospitals, our first deal in India. In terms of the portfolio, it's done overall quite well for us.
You're one of the few funds that have had very successful returns. And I'm not in any way trying to flatter you, but what would you attribute this to?
I think we remain very focused on our core sectors, the sectors that we understand, and on the key drivers of value creation in the companies that we invest in. To put it another way, there are very simple instructions on a shampoo bottle. The instructions read, rinse, slather, repeat. And so do the same thing again and again if you have a playbook, as it were. And so those are the instructions we follow.
So reports seem to suggest that you're going to be looking at bidding for tower vision. Why this sudden interest in the tower sector, the tower space?
So I can't comment on any specific live or deals or otherwise, Supriya.
Are you looking at a new fund? I mean, how much are you looking to raise right now?
We invest out of a global fund in all of our geographies, India included. And we have just completed a fundraise of that global fund as of December of last year, so it's very recent. So we would not be looking for any fresh fundraising until obviously that fund has been invested.
Any particular sector that's exciting you right now? I know you focused on 4 verticals, but anything in that's exciting right now?
So again, it's very opportunity dependent. I think there are opportunities in all of our sectors, and it's very dependent on the. It's hard to make a sectoral judgment. I'd say all the sectors are interesting because they're all growth sectors as far as India is concerned. For different reasons, some of them serve the domestic market, some of them serve the export market in areas that India is strong. And so, we see a very active deal pipeline in all of them.
A last question before I let you go. You started off by saying that 2016 saw low deals happen lesser deals happen because the first half was very high valuations, which were irrational perhaps, and the second half saw demonetization with some kind of uncertainty sinking in. Is that uncertainty out of the way? When do you think we can return to normal as far as stakeholders like yourselves are concerned?
In recent weeks, Supriya, it feels like the uncertainty is abating. That's at least the feel that we're getting. We'll have to now see company results from the December quarter and the March quarter. I think some sectors seem to have shaken off the effects of demonetization without an issue.
Right.
Some will have longer term impacts. On the whole, it feels like the economy is recovering.
On that very positive note, thanks very much, Shashank, for talking to us. That's Shashank Singh of Apax speaking to us right here at ET Now in a very cold Davos.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.